Hi everyone, welcome to Photography Chat, Season 2, Episode 17, with Becca Petersen. We should be having her on the chat here momentarily, and then we will get going. I hope everyone has been having a good week and is staying safe out there. Hi Picture Man Bob. Sorry I haven't been on the Clubhouse much lately. Life has been kind of weird. What's up, JP? Hello, Silver Based. Glad to have you guys on here. Let's get Becca on the chat. Okay. The road trip has been kind of insane, honestly. So I kind of overloaded my car a little bit, and I blew out two of my rear tires in Saskatchewan, and because my car's an all-wheel drive, I had to replace all four of them, which was not terribly inexpensive and a total bummer. And then the mechanic was like, yo, you probably don't want to do the rest of the drive like this. So I had to pick up a U-Haul truck and trailer in the middle of nowhere in Saskatchewan, which is fantastic. And I met this really nice guy, John, who runs the U-Haul dealership out there, and he helped me out. And I am now in Cranbrook, just outside of where I grew up, and it's it's been a wild trip. We'll hopefully be in Vancouver Saturday is what I'm shooting for. Yeah, so it's been kind of one hell of a trip so far. Oh, hi!
Okay.
Welcome to Photography Chat.
Oh, thank you.
I like your sweater today.
I wore it just for this, but I wore this to work, so here I am.
Well, you look very professional, and
Do I? My jumper.
you do for jumper. For those people that will be listening to this on podcast later, it is a very colorful, looking sort of festive type sweater. Yeah. How are you doing?
I'm good. Not bad. How are you? Just drove across the country, so how are you feeling?
I'm not done yet. I just spilled spaghetti on my
Oh
pants,
no.
so I have a huge spaghetti stain on my pants, and I still have quite a few more hours of driving left. I'm going to be hitting up Kamloops tomorrow, and then Vancouver on the day after Saturday. So I'll be getting to Vancouver on Saturday. But right now I'm in Cranbrook, which is in the East Kootenays of British Columbia, and about a half hour away from where I grew up in Kimberley. So it's been interesting being back in my old stomping grounds, and I just had a couple of old Milwaukees with my old bass teacher, Ferdy Belland, who is the bass player for Biff Naked now. And he is 1/3 of the owners of a new project that has bought the old movie theater in the town that I grew up in here in Cranbrook, called the Armand Theater. And it was unfortunately shut down because of capitalism. So in 2000, when Landmark Cinemas put in
How do I get my screen to stay on?
oh, your
I
screen's
don't know how to get my
it should just stay on.
screen keeps dimming. It's not. I have to keep
Weird.
tapping it.
That's
Yeah.
strange. Maybe plug your phone in or something.
It's
That's odd.
I've got it plugged in. I thought this
Huh.
far ahead. I tried to, but I guess I'll just tap the screen every 10 fucking seconds. Excuse me.
No, that's it. Swearing is allowed on
All
here.
right, swearing's allowed. All right,
Yeah,
good to know.
cussing is okay. We are not children friendly here, so
All
don't
right.
worry about holding back. But yeah, it's really interesting. It shut down in 2000 because capitalism. Landmark Cinemas put in a big monster movie theater at the strip mall out here, and they lobbied the local government to put in a bylaw that restricted the ability for people to have movie theaters in the downtown core, which means it immediately shut down the Armand Theater. So they went out of business because they couldn't play movies anymore. So it's sat vacant for decades now. And Ferdy and his friends are rebuilding it to be performance and live music venue and things like that. And I was just wandering around there with him, catching up, sharing a couple tall boys from a safe
Yeah.
distance. And it was wild being in a place where I used to watch movies as a kid and going into like all the the back rooms and
Yeah.
stuff because I was just like, dude, I feel like I'm going somewhere where I'm not supposed to be because like I remember this place from when I was a kid and you
That's
know,
fun. Did you take pictures?
I did not. It was
Ah,
just
all right.
brain pictures. I
Yeah.
did give him
Those
a
are
Polaroid
important.
though.
Yeah.
They are important, but I may come back at some point to document some stuff for them as they do some of the big parts of the project. So, um, yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Sounds
my
fun.
adventure right now.
Cool.
Um, but yeah, I think we've got you on here, so I think if you want to take a moment to sort of introduce yourself to the Photography Chat
Okay.
fam, that'd be cool.
All right. Well, hopefully my app doesn't do the thing. Hi, I'm Becca. I know Merlin through Instagram, so here we are on Instagram. It's great to finally be on the chat after you've been asking me for a while, so I'm glad I said yes. This is my first time ever doing Instagram Live too, so ooh. But photography wise, I mean, I started Northern Film Collective in 2019, which features Canadian photography on film specifically. And for myself personally, I've been into photography since teenage years. I used to shoot a lot of disposable cameras. And then about 5, 6 years ago, I started getting like very heavily into 35 millimeter and has progressed from there. And now I am into medium format as well. And I work in live television and I'm Becca. I don't know what else to say.
That's perfect. That's a
Okay.
fantastic introduction, and like a great point. So like that is how we first met was through the Instagrams. I saw your photography, and I do have to admit, when we first met and you were talking about the Northern Film Collective, I completely mixed it up with Northern Contemporary. And I was like, oh, that's so cool that you're doing stuff with Northern Contemporary. And now I feel like a complete asshole looking back on that.
No, I remember that too. I think I remember having that conversation with you too. And then I was like, no, like Northern Folk, and you were like, oh, you do that? I'm like, yeah, that's me. So yeah, no, it's funny that because we met too when you were doing like a cool like print drop off. You were giving away prints for free, and I was like, sure, I'll take one. And
That's
that was the
right.
first time we ever met, and it was pandemic still, so it was like a safe, socially distanced thing. And I remember you took a portrait of me on my porch, and it was yeah, it was a nice experience.
I did. That's been the first
And
and only roll of 35 millimeter I've shot in my Mamiya to get the sprocket exposure. Yeah,
right, yes, yeah, I remember. Yeah, it's a cool image too. It's yeah, with the
it
sprockets and
is.
everything. It's
I
a
love that one.
favorite portrait of mine. Yeah,
Ah, well,
and
I'm touched by that.
plans for large format maybe. Uh, Sounds like a scary beast, but sure, I'll try it one day. We'll see how things go.
It's not that scary. I mean, it's like pretty awful, but it's good. Like,
Yeah,
large format is a lot of fun.
yeah, I'm sure it is. Just like anything else, I'm sure I would enjoy it. But getting into it is, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, Armand
I
says,
could
nah,
do
you can do it. And he'd probably be happy to sell you a large format camera.
well. Maybe that's a salesman thing then.
And Joe says, it's not so scary.
No. Yeah.
And it's not. It's just that it's a lot more expensive and it takes a lot more time to do large format stuff because
Yeah.
you can't just like pick up the camera and push the
No.
button.
Yeah. Which is fine, right? Like it's not like I'm really realistically doing that with the formats I shoot in now, it would be definitely a cool learning process. Yeah. So you know what? Yes, plans for eventually, set plans, but uh,
Sorry,
I don't know.
Dale says, "Why would it be?" Could you elaborate on that question? Why would what be? Just kind of curious there. While he comes back, texting on that, um, what well, I know the answer, but people out there might not. Um, what was your sort of like inspiration and driver to create the Northern Film Collective?
Well, and to honest, I saw a lot of sort of similar accounts that were based in the US by Americans, and I just felt like there was space for something in Canada that was showcasing stuff here, And as much as we love the California plated old cars and all of that comes out of the States, I think it's kind of cool to see our own backyard and for us to explore that and also just to engage with Canadian photographers more, to meet people in Toronto and across Canada with similar interests. And then, of course, pandemic happened, so it's a little bit harder to meet people, but here we are through Instagram doing it. So it's worked out pretty well, I think, in that aspect.
Yeah, I mean, Instagram has been an interesting conduit to stay connected as the world was collapsing around us this last year. So Dale says, large format, why is it scary or difficult? Um, well, it's a very different practice. So the cameras that you use to shoot large format aren't as easy to use per se as like 35 millimeter, even medium format 120. Because it's usually like a bellows camera or a field camera, so it's like setting it up and focusing and all that stuff takes considerably more time. Like how it was described to me by someone was, you don't take a photo with large format, you make a photo with large format because you have to sort of like plan it out and like do all this extra work. Like it takes a few minutes to like get something set up to take a large format picture versus like picking up a 35 millimeter camera and pushing the button. Um, Jason Moore says, "I like the headphones. You look like Joe
I think he
Rogan,
means Joe Rogan. Yeah.
but less mean." I mean, I can be mean if you want me to be mean. We can
Yeah,
we can
Merlin
work
can
that
be
out,
mean.
Jason.
It's true. I've
Yeah, it
seen it.
is. Yeah, I don't like to do. Actually, so that if it doesn't get edited out, there will be a podcast coming out soon of me being kind of mean towards
Oh,
other
yeah.
film communities out in the wild there. Um, yeah, you were interviewed by them, and that was a very interesting interview.
Yeah, was it? Yeah, I listened to it.
Yeah, I made you listen to the last part of it too.
Um, yeah. Yeah, no, it was great to Classic Camera Revival had me on. It was good. No, don't be mean. Well, Merlin can't help it sometimes, and that's okay. He's being him. Um,
It's that just big Sagittarius energy. I
yeah.
can't help it.
Yeah, no, it was great to be on that. That was my first podcast, and here I am now doing my first Instagram live. So I hope you guys aren't tired of listening to me
That
yet.
job
But
interview, yeah,
yeah, I did well, right? I got the job, I think. So,
absolutely. You did
which you would,
fantastic.
yeah, you would only
I
understand if you listened. But yeah.
Yes, so if you have not listened to it yet, the Classic Camera Revival has some really great episodes recently, and one of them includes Becca. And maybe depending on editing or if they listen to it and decide to go ahead and publish it, I might be on there in May too. We'll see. Um, yeah, I did. I was very candid in my talk about some of the film communities out there. Um,
Best way to be sometimes.
Well, it is because like it's a well, I don't really like to say ongoing theme, but it's an ongoing issue in not only the film community but just like our world in general that things are fairly male dominated and there's a war against women in multiple facets, and so we talked a bit about that how I don't really like how some photography communities are very male focused and kind of well not kind of are shitty to women and very exclusionary. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is something came up with on our chat as well when I was on Classic Camera Revival. So I've yet to listen to yours as this has not been released yet, but I'm interested to hear what you all have to say. Um,
Yeah,
but
Joe has a question here. He says, do either of you have any thoughts on the state of Instagram? What is missing and should be there an alternative for image makers or artists? I'll let you go first, Becca.
oh boy. Well, Instagram in general, I have a bit of a love-hate relationship with. Like, there's one day and I'm just like, I just want to delete it all and just disconnect and not be anymore. And, I do take some weeks at a time where I don't post and but it's and because there's this weird like urge to have, more followers and more likes and more engagement but like what am I really getting out of that? But at the same time, I've met you, I've met so many other people, and it is a very encouraging community, and I'm thankful for it as well. So, I mean, what's missing? I don't know. I don't know if I was prepared for this question. And like maybe there could be another platform for makers and artists. I mean, I imagine it would end up being in the same, you'd end up with in the same situation eventually, right? I mean, with social media and the way it is, uh, it's just like Facebook and it all ends up going down that same sort of path, I think. But I don't know. I don't know. Is I guess my best answer for that.
That's
What
fair.
one? Yeah.
So I've definitely talked about this a lot in other episodes and in other chats I've had with people, but I don't think there's anything predominantly wrong with Instagram. I think it's really how you choose to engage with it and how you choose to interact with it and consume media on it. Like I've been on Instagram since it almost came out, like 8 months after it launched, and so like I've had toxic relationships with Instagram. I've experienced all sorts of different levels of things with Instagram, and most recently I've found it to be a great conduit to connect to really powerful communities and make really strong connections. And so I think that it can be a very powerful force of good if that's the way you choose to interact with it and consume it. Um, I kind of find it interesting when people shit all over Instagram saying, well, it's toxic and it's shitty and like things like that. And it's like, well, it's only that way if you choose those things because, the algorithm only feeds you what you're picking. It bases it off what you're following and what you like and things like that. So if you're seeing things that make you feel shitty and you don't like it, well, you made those poor decisions that have led to feeding you those things. So if you don't like it, just stop liking those things and maybe take a pause, take a break, and figure out how to re-engage with it. I also find Instagram interesting because I think it's probably one of the most democratic social media platforms out there. And as much as Facebook owns the platform, I don't think they completely control it. I don't think they can completely control it. And it's been evident where there's been times where they've tried to make a massive wholesale change to the platform and the community has pushed back on them and they're like, oops, sorry, that was like a bug. We didn't mean to do that. Sorry. And they like revert those things. So I find Instagram an interesting platform because it just kind of has like a life of its own kind of thing. So it's valuable for me because like this is how I connect to people. I do these chats. I like doing these chats. I like talking to people and sharing, um, my experiences and introducing people to new people. And so far, Instagram's been like the best platform to do that, mostly because I'm lazy. Podcasting is a lot of work.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, Instagram's like the only social media I really use. Like I don't go on Facebook anymore. Or I don't even have a Twitter. So I will stand by Instagram in that aspect. And you can for sure make it your own. And it is all about, making sure that you control your own feed and don't follow things that are going to make you, yeah. Those are, yes, very good points.
And I
So
mean,
fun.
like circling back to the film collective here, um, you are just on the heels of a massive project that you undertook to showcase Canadian photographers from all over our land, which I don't think would have necessarily been possible without a platform such as
No,
Instagram.
for
So,
sure.
do you want to,
Yeah,
elaborate on your project there a little bit?
it all came through Instagram, right? So I took submissions through Instagram. Like, yeah, there was no other way feeding it. It's all through Instagram. So for sure, it wouldn't have happened without it. And it's the same thing with selling the book and everything. It was all posted, promoted through Instagram. I didn't actually spend any money on promoting it or anything. Everything went to charity, right? Anyway, so um, it just wouldn't have made sense to do that. But yeah, so I took submissions for a photo book of specifically Canada on film. It ended up with, I think it was over 60 different photographers, including myself and Merlin's, that were in the book. And it was 156 color pages of film photography in print. 150 copies were made and sold. Um, and eventually there will be a volume two. That's
Next
the
year.
gist of it. I'm thinking this year I'll take submissions and it'll probably be released early next year. Yes.
Yeah. Kind of
Yeah,
like a yearbook of Canadian film
exactly.
photographers.
Yeah.
Which
Volume
I think is
one,
like a
volume
very
two.
cool thing because like I think there's lots of people that were in volume one that this may be the first time that they've ever been published. And
Yes, I
yeah.
had a few people reach out to me and say that. And it was great. And that's, this is what I have to be thankful for Instagram for, right? This wouldn't have happened. And when I was selling the book, I offered like a local Toronto pickup option, and that was probably my favorite part of everything was going out and meeting these people safely at a distance with masks. But yeah, I was seeing these people and like the excitement that about having their photos in the book is definitely a highlight of my year and this craziness that has been going on. Yeah, you see me tapping to keep the
Yeah, well,
screen
and
going.
I'm tapping because like things come up here. So, Jason Moore asks, if you're American but you have French Canadian blood, are you allowed to submit asking for a friend?
The answer is yes, of course you can submit, but the pictures have to be in Canada. So that is one requirement. So as long as you've traveled to Canada and taken some photos, then please get involved.
There you
I
go,
do not
Jason.
have any copies of the book left. They are sold out. Um, yeah, we did a limited run of 150 and they sold out honestly faster than I expected them to. So, but maybe next time there'll always be volume two. So,
I remember that because when we decided to do 150, I remember you were concerned of being able to sell them, and that didn't
yeah,
end up being a problem at all. Would
photos
photos
taken from a car.
taken?
Uh, yes, probably. I don't see why not. Um,
As long as it's of Canada.
and you know what? I've definitely shared some photos of Alaska on the Instagram page before. I made an exception, so there's always room for exceptions.
Yeah, of course you can stay with me, Jason. But I am Big Spoon, so you just need to know that. Um, and JP says, if I get picked, but I'm in the U.S., can I get free health care? You're always about the health care, man. You just got to move here.
Yeah, and it's not as great as it's cracked up to be. Not everything is free.
No, and it's not. I mean, like, look at how our vaccinations have been going so far.
Yeah.
Like, you guys are doing fantastic in America, which is very different than not so long ago. So, yeah,
Yeah.
it's been a little. Oh, yeah, of course, Jason, I got you. When the border opens up, feel free to come visit Vancouver. I'd love to show you around, and then you can finally have some stuff to submit for the next volume of the Northern Film Collective.
Yeah. Always good.
Yeah, I mean, it was a very cool project to see take off, and just even being able to be a curator on the Northern Film Collective has been pretty amazing because there is a lot of talent here in Canada, and I think you did find well, no, you didn't. You are addressing an area that's been very sort of like underrepresented on the Grams, which is a place for Canadian film photographers to share their Canadian content. Like you look at most of the reposting pages that are out there, and it's mostly American, um, and sweet gas stations on Cinestill and old cars.
Yes, and like specifically like American gas stations, right? Like it's cool to see um, our own culture and stuff like that. The submissions bill will probably be open like summer, end of summer. I don't have specific dates set yet, so when I'm ready and feeling organized, we'll open up submissions. Take a
Well,
bit
yeah,
of a, yeah.
because you're going to be an old hat at this now, because you taught yourself InDesign and everything for this first run, which I thought was freaking amazing.
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like there's always more you can learn with that kind of software, right? Like you can always do, maybe get a little bit crazier with the next one, but we'll see. It'll probably be a bit of a different template because it can always be changing, right? So
Yeah, switch it up.
yeah, for sure. We'll see.
What
Who
about
knows what the future
I'm
holds?
going to put you I'm going to put you on the spot here for a minute, because I want to see them actually happen. So, personal projects that you have in mind.
I've got a couple like, and these are things that like I've been thinking about doing forever, and just it's hard to get around to. I on top of work and everything. But I've started playing around with like just personal photo books. I'd like to start to sell. I've been exploring a lot more into like self-portraiture over the last year and a bit, and night photography as well. So those are kind of the two ideas I'm playing with right now. Something with self-portraits, and then also the stuff I shoot at night. Um, Specifically like handheld night photography, which is mostly what I do because I'm just too lazy to bring a tripod with me. So yeah, so that's kind of what I've been rolling around in my head. Um, yeah.
That'd be amazing. And I have seen you be lazy with the hand holding, but you're fantastic with it. You've got steady
Steady
hands, which
hands.
is, yeah, that's not something that a lot of photographers can claim to have there. Um, Jay Abbott asks, worst trend in film photography?
I don't know if I have an answer to that because like I'm not trying to hate on anyone for their, I feel like, and I think everyone kind of goes through a sort of process with it too when you first start shooting. You, what am I trying to say here? You start shooting like a lot of the same things, right? And
Yeah,
so, you do the street, and then you start doing the, selfies on film and the mirror selfies. And then but I don't think any trend is worse than the other. I think everyone's going through the paces of learning film photography and experimenting. So I don't know. Unless you've got something, Merlin.
that was a
That's
very diplomatic answer, I have to
you.
say. Like, yeah, that was like if Switzerland was on my Instagram right now, I think that would be the answer they would give on that.
I mean, this is what the film photography community is too. Everyone's just bigging each other up always. It's like maybe that's the worst trend for me because like I almost feel like people are almost too nice sometimes. There is no room for criticism.
But there should be. If I post something that looks like shit, I want someone
Right,
to like let me know it looks
but
like shit.
everyone's just out here like, oh, the colors, so that, yeah. So yeah, maybe that's what it is for me.
Um, Worst trends. I have two. Mansplaining. There's so
Okay,
much of
yeah.
that.
Oh, there's definitely a
Yeah.
lot of that. I can attest.
Yeah, right? As is like, a female photographer, it's like, "Oh, you're shooting this thing? Well, let me tell you all about the camera that you own because obviously you have no idea how to use it." Um, so yeah, mansplaining and the prevalence of men with cameras, I think are my two least favorite trends in the film photography world and digital photography world, just
Yeah,
photography in
yeah,
general.
that definitely stands both. Yeah.
Yeah, those would be my
Yeah.
least two
Oh
favorite
yeah.
trends.
No, I mean it happens, and anytime, like not any time, but yeah, that happens to me all the time. Anyone finds out like I shoot film, all of a sudden they want to explain it all to me, and I'm like, did I ask? No.
Jason says the worst trend for me is gearheads who shoot one roll with a Leica and then never again. That's fair. Like,
Yeah, can't say I.
yeah. But I think that falls under like the category of like men with cameras because the people that are predominantly doing that are like usually like well-heeled men that can afford to go buy a Leica and then like shoot a roll with it and then talk about how amazing their photography is and how much they know just because they could spend all that money on the red dot.
Yeah.
That being said, I totally do want to buy a Leica one day for as much as I hate on Leica and Leica Bros all the time. You know,
It's a dream we all have. We're all just bitter. It's okay.
exactly.
Yeah.
I would really love to like have an M6 one day if someone wants to be like my sugar daddy or whatever and like, we can talk. We can work out some details on that. There I'll do stuff for an M6.
We're taking applications, everybody.
Chrissy says, "Oh, you shoot film. Let me tell you all about that camera you already own." Yeah, that's very true. The
Precisely.
worst Analog A says the worst trend for me is YouTube film camera review wave. What do you think about that? Do you spend much time on YouTube watching the things?
No, I don't. I'm gonna be honest. I'm like the worst person for this stuff. I don't watch like I never listen to podcasts. I don't watch YouTube videos. Like unless I'm like looking for how to do something, I'll watch like a tutorial video, but I don't really watch anything like that. I don't so I can't really hate on it or um yeah, talk shit about that, but because I'm sure a lot of
Um,
people do.
yeah, like I mean, I'm
I
not
I,
afraid to talk shit
I don't
about
know
it.
what the world is like in that aspect. So, but I do see a lot of like it's one of those things where I've always meaned to do. Where I'm like, oh, I because I follow a lot of these people and they have the YouTube channel, and I'm like, oh, I should watch, their videos, but I just never find the time, I guess. But if
There's
it was
only
a
Oh, sorry, go
priority,
ahead.
I would. No, that's okay. That was basically it.
There's only really two YouTubers that I enjoy and make a point to watch their videos. Um, Dave Rollins, Synodar, amazing, beautiful human, great friend, and wealth of knowledge in large format and instant film. And then Jason Comerfeld, Rainy Days. Um, I love his videos because they're informative and he's like a bit of a self-deprecating asshole, so his humor is really on brand with like me and it like kind of touches my heart and I can relate to that kind of stuff. So it's like I enjoy that because it's not like a what's up guys? I'm going to talk to you today about, insert fucking other camera here that like 50 other YouTubers just did a fucking video about that is like almost identical. Like you could probably find 20 videos of the same camera, start them all at the same time and they'll just all be the fucking same. And that's what I kind of find really boring about that. It's just like all of the reviews of the film and all the reviews of the camera is just like the same shit over and over again, and it's fucking boring. Um, but not Grainy Days and not
Okay.
Dave. Yeah,
See, and I've heard of Greeny Days, and I might have seen one or two. Maybe you've sent me a video, even I don't know. But and I want to say I'm gonna write this down and maybe watch later, but I probably won't. I mean, if I'm being honest, I just never do. But I should. I should probably watch them. I would enjoy it, I'm sure. But
Joe Greer is great. I've talked with him on the clubhouse and Matt Day. he I've met him. He's a really nice dude. I don't understand the popularity, honestly. That's totally going to be an unpopular opinion there right now, but it's like I'm not a Matt Day guy. I'm just going to say
and
it.
I think, yeah, see, I don't think I've watched any of his videos. I think I follow him on Instagram. I don't know. The name's familiar, but
Yeah. It's I don't know. It's not for me.
yeah.
But if it resonates with other people, and yeah, another person's like, no thanks on Matt Day, I will high five you on that one. Like he's a nice person, but not my cup of tea. Much like I'm probably not a
Okay.
lot of other people's cups of tea either. What I meant was the camera view wave is like can't. Yeah, I fucking hate that shit too. Where it's just like
Oh
all the
yeah,
hipsters are
the
ruining
film
camera
tax.
price. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
just
it's
so
yeah.
bad.
I remember when I first started shooting film, like I could find cameras at dollars, not the dollar store, sorry, thrift stores for like $4. Like it was like, and now it's ridiculous trying to even film, right? Is so expensive compared to 5, 6 years ago when the wave didn't really happen just yet. I guess it was right at the beginning.
I love this comment. I don't care if you're nice, no flavor, no dice. Yeah, I
Yeah, like
mean,
I could watch a nice person talk on YouTube all day, but yeah, what's the point? Yeah, I get that.
oh, thank you,
Mhm.
Jason. I guess I do have some
There's so
flavor.
much flavor.
Um, it comes from making poor life choices. Yeah.
Yeah, builds character. That's right.
It does, sure. Yeah, whatever. A lie's a lie, right? Yeah, I'm chock full of character, if anything else. Um, yeah, I don't know. I've had like a really hard time with like a lot of YouTube stuff. Like, I'm gonna straight up say it. Least favorite YouTube one is Peter McKinnon. I mean, I almost hated drinking coffee for a while because of his fucking videos. Like, just yeah. When I think of like cringe YouTube videos, the first thing that pops into my mind is Peter McKinnon. And if he's listening to if he somehow comes across this one day, I'm not sorry at all. Fucking film something else, man. You know, years of coffee videos. Fuck, man, stop it. Just stop.
Uh, Coffee videos. Yeah. Again, never watched any of these, so I don't know, but sounds boring.
Just don't do it. You don't want to
Okay.
hear about that. And it's just like fucking it and all of his shit's clickbait. He's like got me a couple times with his clickbait because it's like I'm quitting and I'm
Not
like,
again.
really? You're quitting? Okay, I want to see this.
I
And it's
want to
like,
watch this one. Goodbye.
it was a clickbait. Fuck, he got me.
Bastard.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, total bastard.
Yeah. Well, even yeah, missing buying SLR is a Goodwill for $15. Yes. Me too.
Yeah, I miss that kind of shit too. Like,
But I mean, I don't we don't have Goodwill here anymore. They all closed down. But like Value Village and stuff. I mean, you can still find some it's not so bad, but like just even online and like Kijiji and stuff, you got to really dig through.
it's hard, but like, so for our American friends out there, Kijiji is like our Craigslist here in
Oh,
Canada.
yes.
And yeah, Kijiji used to be like wicked awesome back in the day. Like I picked up my F5 on Kijiji in I think late 2017 for like 250 bucks, and now they're going for like 600, which just like it blows my mind. Like, and the one that really blows my mind though is like the Contax cameras and the Yashica T4s and all of these like super electronic cameras that are literally just ticking time bombs that just like, one day you're going to pick it up and breathe on it the wrong way and it's just going to die and you have like 1,000 plus whatever paperweight. Um, and I totally fell prey to that once. I did buy a Nikon 35 Ti and it's honestly the most beautiful camera I've ever owned and I fucking hated it so much.
Mm.
It was so beautiful to hold, and I have a couple selfies where I'm holding it, and I'm like, oh, I miss it.
And
It's
then that's
beautiful.
it. Yeah.
But me and the autofocus on it did not get along, and yeah, just like most of the time the rolls were just like crap, and I was just like, I can't get behind this. And also, it's like I'm gonna dump this while they're still worth a ton of money, and it can be other someone else's like crying game and not mine.
I'm just laughing at the comments. Excellent plus 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 exactly.
Yeah,
Um,
we've got some good comments tonight.
and thank you, Analog A. That's yeah, you don't need a $500 YouTube camera. It's crazy how much you can do with the $4 it's a point and shoot, but camera that I bought at Valley Village or the T90 was actually gifted to me, but like he got it off Kijiji and I think it was like $100 at most. Like I don't know, but
Dang, I just sold a T90 for like 300 some bucks.
oh really? Well, it's good, make your money on it.
It just
But this
seems like
was,
too low the
6 years
market value.
ago too. So, and I've been using that camera heavily for years, and it's never let me down. So, except for the batteries dying, and you know about that too.
Yeah, but
So,
those are just double A's. You can easily swap that out.
well, that the batteries died inside, and then I tried to take the tray out,
Oh,
and the clip broke.
that's right.
Uh,
I had to drill. I had
yeah,
to drill it out. I
yeah,
forgot that you also you have two T90s now. I
I
forgot
do.
about
I
that.
do have
Yeah,
two T90s because.
yeah. I feel bad that I had to like drill your other one.
Oh,
Here's an
gotta do
interesting
what you gotta
question,
do.
and this is a first. So Jay Abbott, thank you. If I gave away prizes, you would get one. Maybe one. Slide into my DMs. Maybe I'll send you something if I'm feeling charitable. But favorite film strain and weed stock.
What? I didn't even see that. Oh,
I think what he meant to say is favorite film stock and weed strain, but answer how you want to.
uh, hmm. Film stock. This is what I always say when someone asks me. I don't have a favorite film stock. My favorite thing about shooting film is trying all the different films. So maybe I just haven't found my favorite yet, but I do. I like shooting different stuff all the time, and I guess mostly like I do really enjoy shooting like higher ISO films, like 800. So like I love Lomo 800 and Portra and Cinestill. It's as basic as it gets, I guess. And films, weed
But
stock strain. Been cutting down on the weed lately, personally, but I don't know, I like a hybrid.
yeah, I've been cutting down on the weed as well too, honestly. Especially now since like the place I'm moving to in Vancouver is a not allowed to smoke on the premises.
Mm.
So I'm lazy. Like if I can't just like sit out on like my back porch or whatever, yeah, I'm not
That's
gonna make the
lame.
effort to go like walk to a park or something. 'Cause, like just whatever.
You can't like that seems
It's
unfair.
it's not unfair. Like it's just because like I'm gonna be living in the basement suite of this very, very sweet old Ukrainian lady's place. And she's super adorable and I'm probably gonna end up eating a lot of borscht soon.
Oh right,
Um,
yeah.
but she's not cool with weed because like the last dude that was living down there was like smoking weed in the house all the time and it was just like stinking her out. And so um she just doesn't want to fuck with the weed, which
That's fair.
I can totally respect because, I'm too old for that shit anyways.
Yeah. Well, same. I feel like, I turned 27 suddenly. I can't hit bongs anymore. Oh well, but yeah, love borscht. Can't say I've ever tried
Borscht,
borscht.
you've never tried borscht?
I don't think so. What is it?
What? It's like a cabbage stew basically.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's
Eh,
fucking delicious. Um,
so, no.
you're gonna get hefty eating edibles now in lieu of smoke. I mean, I do like edibles sometimes. Like, I'm cool with that.
Can you actually get $16 3 rolls of Kodak Gold? That's good to know. I feel like it's much more expensive here.
What? Who said that? Where?
Vancouver, Walmart have $16 Kodak Gold 200. That's
I think they're doing weeds. Whoever said that.
borscht just beets. Okay. I like
No, it's
beets.
not.
I
It's
can
not
be
just
into that.
beads, is it? There's also like
Beet soup.
other stuff. I don't know. I'm not Ukrainian.
No, me neither.
Oh, there's Dave.
So,
Hi, Dave. Um, I totally lost train of thought. Sorry. Those
yeah.
old Milwaukee's are like really kind of
Oh, yeah. It's like
getting me
old
there.
Milwaukee. Haven't you really lost your train of thought? Yeah, cheap film, I guess, purchasing in Walmart is what there's because for one thing, it's like I never see it there anymore. It's always sold out. Um,
Yeah.
but I don't. I feel like I paid more than $16. I think I paid like $40 for 3 rolls of like Fuji Superia at Shoppers recently because I just like needed film and it was there, and I was like, this is ridiculous.
Don't
But
do that to yourself.
yeah,
No.
What are
I
you
mean,
doing?
for that, you're like three-quarters of the way more. Yeah, you're like three-quarters of the way to a pro pack a portrait at that
I
price.
know that price is ridiculous, and
And also, like, fuck Fuji so hard. They
why
can like
they
totally run
discontinued the film you like?
because they're just dicks. I mean, they can just run backward for through a field of dicks for all I care.
Okay.
Yeah, because they kill all the beautiful things. And um, yeah, like I mean, they killed Pac Film, which was a super bummer. And then they killed Superior 1600, which also like bummed me out a lot because like there's no other high speed film color than like that was the
At
last
that,
super high speed one
right? Well,
because like 800 is like the highest now.
no, it's true. Yeah, you can't find. Yeah, that makes sense. Well, you see, I'm sorry you feel personally attacked by that, but we're all in the
I
same
don't
boat.
feel
Oh,
personally
well,
attacked. I just, you know, I don't know, it just bums me out. But I've been yeah, it is a Run the Jewels reference there. So congratulations, Waste of Silver, because you caught that. Um, Yeah, Neopan 1600 was cool too. Um,
never shot any of that. Never got a chance. So
well,
I,
maybe
but I mean, and it's funny too because I remember when I first started shooting film, like I would buy a lot of Superior like 200 and 400 because it's what I could find for cheap, and so I always enjoyed that film, but now like I never shoot it anymore. So it's I don't want to hate on it, but I
I've
can see
really been
why.
liking Lomo 400 lately.
I love Lomo, their color negative films like the 800 and the 400, even the 100. I I do like that stuff. I mean, there are other like crazier films like The Purple, and it's one of those films that's like, yeah, you always want to shoot and try because you see other people shooting and making cool images with it, and then every time I use it, I'm like, "Ah, I just wish I shot this on a normal film." But I mean, you can make some cool stuff with it. I
Yeah,
really
so
liked the
I've
Metropolis too, actually, but
well, yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like, because I think I gave you all of my Lomo purple because I bought a bunch because I saw like what people were doing with it, and then I was just like, I don't want to have purple pictures, so I gave you all the Lomo purple that I had. But I do really like the Metropolis.
yeah,
Um, yeah, Metropolis is cool.
I did like the Metropolis.
My purple. Whose purple post?
I don't know. I
Did you
don't know.
post a purple?
Not recently, but I
Yeah.
have posted some purple. I've shot a few. Actually, the last roll of purple film I had in camera, I fucked up unloading it and just exposed the whole roll, and I was and like, fuck this. So that's the last roll of purple I had, and it's gone. It's images to
Oh,
never be seen. So that's all the fun in film, right? So what are you gonna do?
where is it here? Film speeds are not as linear and perfect as. Well, I mean, so that's kind of a funny point there on film speeds because right before I left Toronto, we shot some large format, and I thought that it was 400 speed film, and so I metered it for 400 and processed it as 400 because I thought it was Rolly 400. And then when I got it out of the processor, I discovered that it was Agfachrome 50. And it's still there were still images, which was kind of kind of amazing. So yeah, I guess like film can take some abuse sometimes. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and that's one thing I haven't experimented with too much is like pushing and pulling film, but I have here there like realized halfway through a roll that I've set the ISO on the camera incorrectly and then had to push or pull in development, and like the results are always pretty good. Or if like I've had an expired film and I rated it lower to address that and stuff like that, and I know with black and white film you can do a lot more pushing and stuff, and you don't get as much color shifts, right? So
Yeah, Dave's
these
going hard on the C41 right now. He says he advises everyone to expose their film properly instead of pushing it because C41 is gross when pushed. E6 and black and white push well, but C41 pushes terribly.
see, I was under the impression that you don't want to. Oh wait, I guess the process. Okay, but
Yeah.
when shooting positive film, you do want to expose it correctly, right? Like,
Well, I mean, ideally you
uh,
want to shoot any kind of film correctly
yeah,
because,
but I mean, it
there's
has less latitude, right? Than
yeah, so
yeah,
slide film is very unforgiving.
yeah,
Whereas like, negative has a lot of latitude. Which is kind of like why I really like shooting portrait because I've done some kind of fucked up stuff with portrait and it's worked out really well. Jay Abbott asks, do you scan your own negatives? And if so, what program do you use?
for the most part, no. Usually I get downtown camera to scan my stuff for me. They do a great job. I did buy a scanner, oh, God, a few months ago now. So I have scanned some. I've only scanned like so all the black and white stuff I've posted recently is all scanned myself. And I have an Epson and it's silver fast that I use to scan. So eventually I'll start maybe doing the color too. It's one of those things I learned. I was like, I get why now people pay someone else to do this. It's a lot of work. It's time consuming and using the software and everything. So yeah.
It sucks. Like when you told me you were buying a scanner, I didn't want to dissuade you from it because you seemed really excited. And I was just like, she'll figure it out. Either she will love scanning, because there are some people out there that are like, I love scanning. And I'm like, okay, I don't know. I don't understand that. I don't understand the love of it because I fucking hate scanning.
Yeah. Um, I mean, it's every once in a while I'll sit down and have a scanning night and it's nice. It's some time I have to myself and I enjoy it. But it was just yeah, more of a pain in the butt than I expected it to be. I don't know why. Should have watched all the YouTube videos I've been skipping out on. But no, I mean, I'll get around. I think there's a learning curve and I'll probably learn to enjoy it more. But
Well, Dave says here, someone who scans maybe 100 rolls per week, he
I
hates
hate it. Yeah. So maybe I'll
it.
just, if anything, learn to hate it more. But uh, yeah. Oh yeah. See, that would be I thought my life was hectic. I do not have any children, so
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean,
I
I
can
look
imagine
at,
that making it difficult. Yeah.
yeah, kids. They're great, right? Scanning. I don't know if it's really a party though, because parties are supposed to be fun.
You could do like a virtual scanning party and just get, and you just hear the that lovely sound it makes.
Yeah. I mean, I
uh,
think I am gonna have to cave and buy a scanner soon though to do 8x10. So, question. Any photo books that you recommend?
that's a good question. I'm taking recommendations right now. I don't feel like I have much of a collection. I did recently. Where is it? I have it here somewhere. Get some purchase one that I enjoyed from Andy's Eyes on Instagram, who's a Toronto photographer who shoots film. It was called I Feel, and it was a cool book. I liked that. It was really cool seeing the. It's funny because I followed this person on Instagram forever, and he always posts like spots that I recognize. And I think that's a fun Toronto photo book that I would recommend.
Nice.
Or any of
Dave, oh,
yeah,
sorry, go ahead.
sorry. Now
Any
what were you
any
gonna
of which,
say?
sorry?
I was gonna say Merlin has a couple of cool photo books too, but I don't know if they're still available. No?
Well, I only have one so far, but I am going to be doing a
Okay.
reissue of that one. Um, the follow-up to it didn't really work out as well as I'd planned because the move kind of got all fucked up. So I'm going to have to adjust what the follow-up will be. And then the Polaroid book, I'm going to do a pre-order for that once I get settled into Vancouver, because I figured doing a pre-order while moving, just not a great idea. Dave recommends Cape Light, which is a fantastic book. So you could probably find that on the Googles. And Dawood Bay he's an amazing photographer as well too. Um, and recent ones that I picked up that I really enjoyed, Raymond Molinar's Polaroids book. was fantastic. It was like I think like a decade or so of Polaroid Time Zero shots that he had taken with his SX-70. That was a beautifully done book put out by Film Photographic, and also um, Jason Lee's book through Stanley Barker of American Photos was a really good one. I think that one's been sold out though. Um, and Larry Clark's Tulsa book, if you can find a copy of that one, that's a really beautiful black and white book.
Yeah,
Johnny
I
the
think you showed
Bandit
me that
asks, yeah, that I did show
one.
you that one because that has
That
like
one
one of the
was
most
really, yeah,
striking image.
that's a
Yeah,
cool book.
the
Yeah.
pregnant lady doing heroin, like
Yeah.
that.
Oof.
That's a wild,
Well, don't
wild
ruin the
one.
book for them, Merlin, but
Well, there's so
yeah,
much
no,
more that they
just
can check out there.
yes.
Um,
Newer
Johnny the
cars.
Bandit says, "What is your opinion on cars, newer cars on film? I know everyone enjoys old cars on film, but I like a lot of new cars too."
Uh yeah, I like old cars myself. I I can't say I shoot a lot of new cars on film. They just don't have the same attraction for me as I'm sure a lot of other people. There's something about an old car on film, right? I don't care for new cars that much, to be honest. I don't really can't say. Then again, though, I mean, there was a phase in my life where I was going to car events a lot, and I would shoot. I shoot everything on film, so I would shoot them on film too. So I think everything's better on film versus, but like again, I think most people in that realm shooting newer cars work in digital, I imagine. But uh, I suppose that's my opinion. I support it all. Do you? If you like it, Johnny, you shoot it.
Yeah, I mean, really, it should just be up to you. If you feel that it's something that you're compelled to push the button for, you should do it. You know, who
Mm,
cares if other people don't like it as long as you like it, you know. But I do have to agree, most new cars are fucking boring. They all look the same for the most part.
it is, yeah. Don't do it for
Yeah.
me personally.
Yeah, they just don't have as much character. Like, you know,
Sorry to be, yeah,
don't be
cliche
sorry.
or basic or whatever, but
It's not cliche or basic. It's like someone says here, facts. Best thing to shoot is cats. I've never
100.
really shot them.
Love cat photos, always. I see a cat photo on the gram, I like it. Doesn't matter where it came from.
That's true.
Cats are the best. Also hard to shoot. I feel like most cats know when you have a camera in their face and they're not about it. But
I've never really tried shooting cats much. Um, so I'm not familiar with that.
yeah. Well, I mean, I don't have any cats now, but I did have cats, and it's definitely a way I've finished off some rolls, pictures of my cat. So I agree. Those pictures don't always make it to the gram, but I love a good cat pic.
Well, and I mean, sometimes not everything should go on the grams.
No, no, I have a lot of photos that have not seen the light of day, so and that's okay.
Same.
Sometimes they're just for you.
I have a lot of pictures that are like just for me or the people that I've created them with. Yeah, and that's just fine.
I believe that.
Yeah. Becca and Merlin, when you go out to shoot, do you bring one camera or multiple? I'll let you go first.
Uh, Usually multiple. It depends, I guess, on the kind of day that I'm planning. Like if say I'm going for like a hike or something with a friend who isn't into the photography, I will bring just like one smaller camera. But like if I'm going out with say Merlin and we're specifically going out to shoot photos, there's a very good chance I have like 2 to 3 cameras with me and a light meter and yeah, lenses, extra film. So yeah. Uh, Multiple, I guess, is the answer.
Yeah, same here. I usually have at least 2 or 3 cameras, if not more, on me at any given time. So,
Yes.
yeah. Because you gotta have options: color, black and white, instant film, medium format, large format, 35 millimeter. You gotta be prepared. So I would have to say
Yeah.
multiple for me too. And Analog A says, for both of you, what about the creative process? Do you go outside, shoot an exclusive project, or take the camera and shoot what you see and then come up with a project?
Hmm. I will just go out and shoot what I see. I mean, there has been occasion where I'm specifically going somewhere to shoot something, and I don't know if I'd call it a project, but say there's a certain space that I want to shoot. I will go out with a goal, and I like sometimes I even save like certain film that I want to shoot a certain thing with. Um, so it all depends. But there are definitely days where I just go out just for the sake of going for a walk and take my camera and see what I can find.
Yeah, so I always have my camera with me because it's like my mental health blanket. So, um, yeah, I just shoot whatever looks interesting. There are some times where it's just like, there'll be like a specific project or a specific thing that I want to shoot, but for the most part, I just always have at least one camera with me to just shoot whatever comes up. Yeah. So I don't really know if it's so much a creative process, but just maybe like a drive to
Yeah.
just create things.
Yeah.
Because I don't really have a process.
Yeah, I feel like I can't really say I do either. It's it's just yeah, the joy of creating images, right? So
That would be a kind of a funny book because, the joy of cooking. Someone should make like the joy of creating.
yeah, that would be interesting. There you go. I'm gonna write that down. Yeah.
I mean,
Steal your idea real quick. Yeah.
just make sure to tag me on it.
Take your. Well, it's gonna be a book.
Yeah, just like a credits there.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
Special thanks.
exactly. You know,
Yeah,
thanks for letting me steal your idea.
yeah. Well, you said it on an Instagram live chat, so that's your own fault.
That's true, and the tens of
Yeah.
people watching right now could run with it. Yeah,
You never know who's watching.
that's true. That's
Yeah.
true. Yeah,
Well, I
if
mean, I
you
guess you could very easily find out who's watching.
um maybe. Where do I
I
look?
don't know. Can you?
Whatever.
Anyway, it
A
doesn't matter.
common topic in photography is shooting street portraits. When given the opportunity, do you shoot without asking or shoot the portrait based on the response of the subject?
I do not do a lot of this. It's something I've been trying to work up the courage to do is like ask people to do street portraits because I'm not going to shoot unless I have it. I mean, like sure, like I'll do some shooting here and there. There's people in the photos, but like specifically like a portrait of that person. It's not something I've done a lot of, and mostly because I'm scared to ask. But I do want to do more of that. If anyone's got any tips on that, how to overcome that, because I feel like I've missed out on some opportunities. But I know a lot of people will probably say yes, but if not asking wouldn't make it a portrait. Hmm.
That's true. I
Yeah,
mean, not asking is just kind of like invasive. Um,
exactly.
I sort like the rule that I work with is if I look in the viewfinder and it feels too intimate, then I won't take the picture without asking. Um, so if it's like, if I look in it and I don't feel like this would be an uncomfortable thing, then I'll just take the picture. But if it does feel like it's possibly too intimate and could be invasive to the person, I'll usually ask. And that's why, so I ordered these like little business cards off of Moo that fit in that useless pocket in your jeans. Um,
Oh
that just
yeah.
like have my like Instagram and like website, email address, phone number, and stuff on it. And if the moment does feel too intimate, but I still really want to take that shot, I'll ask the person, just be like, hey, like, I not a total weirdo, kind of weirdo, but like this is my details here. Yeah, just a little bit of weirdo. I really liked what you were just doing in that moment. Would you mind if I take a picture of like, just act like I didn't interrupt you and just, totally cool. And then like I may post it on my Instagram. You can find it here. If you hate it, you can like, email me, call me, carrier pigeon, whatever, and I'll take it off the webs. And
Yeah,
that's
and I mean
helped a bit.
that's the thing with film too, right? It's not like you can, take the picture and then be like, oh, like, and when they're mad, be like, oh, don't worry, I can just delete it. It's like, no, that's film. I can't even show it to you. So it is, it's a little bit different in that aspect. But yeah, that's why I haven't done a lot of that. It's something I would like to try more of, but
And
there's a
most of the
barrier.
time, when you ask people, they usually get kind of excited about it. I've
Yeah. See, that's
had
why I don't have a lot of experience with it. So yeah,
well, and like
for
I'm
most.
still kind of new to it as well too. So like, I just started doing more portraits like right before I met you. Um,
Okay.
because I was sort of afraid of it. And so it's like when I took your portrait, that was part of like my practice of like trying to like get more comfortable with taking people's pictures by being like, hey, I'm going to give you this thing. This is an exchange. So if I give you this, is it cool if I take your picture? And because there's an exchange happening, you're probably more likely to say yes than no. And that's why I took your
Right.
picture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't mind. My thing is too is like I'm so awkward in front of a camera. Like as you probably know, Merlin, you've taken a fair amount of portraits of me at this point.
But you're not that awkward.
Okay, well, good, thank you. But not that awkward. And I feel like I've made some progress too, even.
You
Like
have.
maybe, right? At first it
Yeah,
was
like,
harder.
yeah.
Uh, yeah. So coming from that perspective too, right? It's harder for like I understand that these people might not want being on that side of the camera is hard personally. So um, and I guess that's why I'm scared. I'm scared people. But like, what is there? They're gonna say no. All right, you move on. Not a big deal, right? So yeah.
Yeah, and like, there's a couple comments here saying that people don't like to ask. It kind of changes, how the image works and like, the naturalness of it. Um, but I also think like, given the age we're living in and the issues that are coming up that we're trying to address and the climate of things, that's a fucking weak excuse, honestly. um, you know, we can't be infringing on people's space for art, and especially if it's like male photographers that are like taking portraits of women where it's like candid and things like that, um, and then like shoot first, ask questions later. You know, just stop fucking doing that right now because it's not really art if you're infringing on someone's space. Like, yeah, sure, it's art, but it's shitty, I guess. Is the point I'm trying to make? Is like, we need to be respecting each other's space a lot more. And yeah, comment here. Thank you for saying consent is required. I think it's important to ask for consent, and if it changes the moment, that's fine. Um, you're still going to get an image. Maybe it's not the exact one that you want, but it's not going to violate that person's basic human rights and that person's
Privacy.
privacy and space kind of thing. And that's where it's like I go back to my personal rule of if it feels too intimate, I'm not gonna take that shot because I don't want to encroach on someone's space or infringe in their space and violate um, their privacy kind of thing. Or if it's like a very intimate moment, I don't want to take a photo of that and I guess like capitalize on the intimacy of that moment because like it
Hmm.
could very like there's been tons of photos that could have been like extremely powerful, beautiful photos had I taken them, but it would have violated one or both of those people for like what to get a bunch of likes on Instagram or get comments from people being like beautiful shot way to take advantage of someone's situation.
Yeah. Uh,
Yeah.
no, I agree. And that's part of why I don't do a lot of it. And that I just don't shoot those street portraits without asking. And if I don't ask, then they don't happen, right? So, yeah, and
Yeah.
asking gets way better. Like, yeah, you get a totally different sort of, you might get a better image, is what John
Yeah,
Barrymore was
that's a
saying
great
about that.
comment here.
Yeah.
Asking gets way, and that's true because like maybe they will be more relaxed and be more playful, be more interactive with your lens than they would if like you get like this terse shot because like just before you push the shutter, they realize what you're doing and they're immediately pissed off. And I'm not sorry for saying this. Um, just be fucking better. Be more respectful. Using like it's art as an excuse is fucking bullshit. You're not an artist, you're a violator. Stop fucking doing that. So, yeah, not sorry. If you hate it, unfollow me, don't tune in, whatever. Like, be butthurt about it. And then you'll probably think about it and be like, oh, yeah, maybe I don't want to violate people. And then when you get
Right.
back to
And
that place, feel free to follow me and tune in again.
but it's the same thing as I was saying before too, right? It's like, how would you feel if someone just invaded that personal moment for you, right? So, I- like I said, I don't like being like I'm awkward in front of the camera, and I don't like to be unprepared for a photo. So, uh, I can respect that, and I think we should all just respect each other. That's
Yeah,
all. Yeah.
don't be a dick. Like I went on a photo walk in Boston a couple of years ago, and there's this one dude that was with us on the photo walk that just like completely turned me off. Because he's like, I'm a street photographer, and he was like taking his camera and shoving it in people's faces with the flash on and like firing it like right in their face because he liked getting the angry response from those people because he felt it was like real and candid and things like that. And I was just like, no, you're just being a dick, man. Like
Yeah.
you're upsetting people and you're like, assaulting them with your camera in a way. Like, that's not cool. That's not art. That's just you're being an asshole with a camera. And you're going to make that person hate other photographers because they're going to remember this like dick that shoved their camera in their face and, fired a photo. So I just don't really like it. And I have to disagree with you, Paul, there. Like in my mind,
Yeah.
street photography for
Same.
me I do a lot of street photography. I don't have many people in it.
Yeah,
Um,
same. Yeah.
you know, like what like when you think street photography, Becca, like what comes to your mind?
Uh, I guess like so obvious like, people can be in it, but not so much
Yeah.
street. Like there's a difference to me with street photography and street portraits, right? Whereas before we were talking about street portraits where you take a picture of a person specifically, and I think asking would be what you should do. But street photography is just anything that is street. I think of it as more like urban exploration photography kind of thing, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, just anything that's not indoor photography or like landscape rural photography. So cars, buildings, yeah, light and shadows and on the street. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that kind of stuff. And you are fantastic at capturing like urban decay and those kinds of things,
Oh, thank
which I
you.
know is one of your favorites. Um, I think for me, like street photography is just photography you do when you're out and about. You're
Yeah.
walking on the street, you see something that looks interesting, you're taking a photo of it. That's a street photography photo to me. Like that's what I've always considered street photography. And up until the last like couple years, I've made a point to avoid getting people in my photos because like I just haven't been comfortable with that because like I haven't wanted to encroach on people's spaces, but also like the people aren't what I find interesting. It's like the
Yeah.
graffiti or the building or like the words, like those are the things I want to take the photo. And like if someone gets in that photo, I'm more pissed about it because it's like you fucking ruined the photo. I don't want you in it. I want
Yeah,
this
that's
thing.
I was just gonna say I try to avoid people in my photos for the most part. I prefer the look of an empty space.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I
Negative
guess
space is kind of fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there. You're saying,
No,
I guess.
that's good. And more so like the story of like it creates of humans that have been in that space, right? Without someone, yeah, being in it and mucking it up.
Yeah, which is something that you've done a very good job of capturing, and a lot of your work is this sort of just like this look of desolation of something that's been like lived in, but now is just vacant, and there's just like
Yeah.
remnants of
No,
people.
and it's kind of funny too because like the tagline on my Instagram is, the human condition on 35 millimeter, and it's very rarely pictures of humans. So it's a bit contradictory, but at the same time, you're still seeing the aftermath of humans, I guess, is more so. Yeah.
Well, and I guess like that is the human condition, though. Like you look at the
Exactly.
state that we've left the world, and not only the world, the state we've left each other. Like for the most part, as a species, we just like to destroy things and leave this like wake of leftovers behind us.
Yeah. It's
Yeah, that's the human
more
condition.
more like
The
human.
viewer is the human element. I like that one. That's
There you go. Yeah. Right. And you're seeing it. Yeah, it's really my human condition, right? That you're seeing. But
yeah, and I like
exactly.
that one too. The environment gives off a type of feeling almost post-human.
Precisely. Yeah. It's like
Yeah.
the absence of humans in a human created space. Um, yeah.
Yeah, like that was one of the like one of my favorite photo books is a plane view that Jason Lee did in I think like he shot it during 2017 and released it in 2018. But it's a series of photos all through Texas, and it's 100 some pages of color images, mostly shot on 4x5. But throughout all of it, it's just vacant spaces, remnants of people. There's no actual people in any of the shots except for one. There's just one photo that has like a dude sitting in it. Um, and the thing that's interesting with it is like a lot of these towns that he went to, they look like ghost towns. They look completely vacant, but they're not. Like it's just that there was like no people in that moment, and it just gives the images this interesting feel of just like where they're like almost like Langoliers or something like that, where it's just like all the people just like vanished, and now it's just these empty spaces, and it has a really cool feel because of that. Because you're
Yeah.
not you're being drawn into like that image and the surroundings and not being distracted by like having people in it.
No, exactly. And I think that's kind of what I strive for in most of my images is to have that, yeah, that feeling. It's a good, and especially in the last year or so, right, with everything in like lockdown and everything, you can go and shoot those spaces with nobody in it. And it's like this weird, eerie sort of effect. Um,
I'm really jealous of your TTC photos, honestly, because I fucking wish I had some like empty shots of like the subway and
oh
TTC
yeah, I've got
and
a
yeah.
couple. Yeah, and I'm still taking the subway all the time. And it is weird because I work right at like such a busy area. And I remember last year in the first lockdown, it was just like I'd get off work 9, 10 o'clock at night at Yonge and Dundas, and there's no one around. So I have some photos of like just like yeah, like dead Yonge and Dundas, which you never see it like, or at least you didn't ever see it before. TTC is the Toronto Transit Commission.
It's our
Yeah,
like
it's
bus and
our
subway service.
local transit system. Yeah.
Well, I guess not
Um,
our anymore. It's
yeah, it's
your because
mine.
like I'm no longer an East Coaster.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, I mean, like seeing Dundas Square empty now is not going to be a thing because it's usually filled with like fucking anti-maskers and anti-vaxxers now. So
Yeah.
that's cool.
Yeah, that happens too, unfortunately, sometimes. But no, it was really eerie. I remember some nights. And
I
still,
learned a really interesting thing tonight when I was visiting with my friend of the power of anti-masking. So, Cranbrook, where I am right now in this hotel room, I think if you can see it there, it says like, greetings from Cranbrook or something like Cranbrook welcomes you. Um, Cranbrook is a much larger town than Kimberley. I think Cranbrook is like, tens of thousands of people. Kimberly's like maybe 5,000. There's only 18 active cases of COVID in Cranbrook right now, but there's like 45 in Kimberly. And they have a smaller population, but it's mostly filled with like anti-maskers and anti-vaxxers. So that's the power of anti-masking. So
Okay.
wear a fucking mask and wash your hands. This shit's real, idiots. Yeah. It's all right. Anyways, tangent.
No, it's good. Stay safe out there. And I'm wearing, my mask on the subway and all that. So, and most people do, and that's the one thing too I've noticed too is we're taking it because of everything. There's less people on it, which is nice, but still, yeah. Now's the time to pursue. Yes, lockdown I think has opened a lot of people's eyes.
That's
And
a
it's
big.
funny though, because I remember going into last year, I was like, my whole goal was to like be more social and take more portraits, and like none of that happened. I took a lot of self portraits, so I guess there was that exploration, and like it opened myself up to that, which like is a good practice in the interim. But
Well, I mean, you took some nice portraits of me, which are some of my favorite
there you
photos.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you virtually met a lot of people through NFC. So,
Yeah.
I mean, you did meet your goals, just not in the way that you wanted to.
Yes. Just I guess yeah, life takes its own turn sometimes. Oh, speaking of which,
Yeah.
the should I break out a camera? I don't have one.
Well, this is just the thing. I always get like a
I
shot
know.
of
I
the.
knew this. I was
Yeah,
prepared.
you were prepared.
Well, I mean, maybe. Oh
You
wow, that I was making a dumb face in that
okay?
one.
We'll do another
It's
one.
okay.
Okay, better face.
All right, let's
Three,
smile.
2, 1. There you go.
There you go. Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's been last year was weird. Yeah.
it's still weird. This year's weird.
Yeah, like maybe weirder because like
Yeah,
everyone's just so exhausted and
yeah. There's a lot of
yeah,
fatigue. Yeah,
just a little bit of fatigue. Like,
just
yeah.
at that point. And I mean, to be honest, I consider myself lucky. I've remained employed and working and going into work through all of it. So my routine hasn't changed all that much. Um, but because I'm not the type. I don't think I think I'd go crazy sitting at home all the time, even working from home and doing the Zoom calls and all of that. So,
Yeah,
but I mean,
it's
yeah,
not easy. 'Cause yeah, like right before I met you and had the car accident, um, I had a massive temper tantrum at work about how much I hated Zooms. Like it was just like a complete like, you know, child melting down kind of like thing about like how awful Zooms were because it's just like I got so tired of like being stuck in my house and staring at a computer screen and seeing people's faces on it and my face being on it and it's just like yeah.
here you are a
Um
year later doing this.
yeah, but like so this is
I
this is
know.
very different from Zoom meetings. And then like what made me snap was because someone asked like, how's everyone feeling about the new normal? And like everyone was kind of being like, oh, it's great. Like I'm more productive. And, they're saying all this shit about it. When like individually, when I talked to them, they were all like, I hate it. It sucks. This is the worst. But like when a higher level person was asking, they're like, oh, it's the best. Like I love it. And just like, you guys are all fucking liars. This sucks. Like, but this has been kind of
Full of
like
shit.
different in it. What's that?
Yeah, you're just full of shit.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I don't sugarcoat shit for people, so I just call it like it is. Um, but this has been a bit different than like Zooms and stuff because it's
Yeah.
more um, actually
Well, and you're
connecting with someone and
yeah
like sharing.
choosing. There's someone you want to talk to. It's not work people, right? Like, yeah.
Yeah, I
Not
mean
to say
like,
that, you know. Yeah.
well, I mean like, yeah, there's always like ass kissing. I'm not,
Exactly. Right. There's. Full of shit.
I'm too old to kiss ass, and I just don't really care.
It's just not in my nature.
Yeah, I couldn't really see
Yeah.
you doing that at all. Yeah,
No. Well, I
yeah.
mean, when the time's right, I guess. But
The time should never be. You should never have to kiss ass. Like it should really be like your your ability is what should give you merit. Like um, I don't know. It's something that I've like had to learn over time is that not to be afraid to like stand up for what you value and for others um, out of fear of like having repercussions in your position um, because like yeah I am ashamed to admit that I have let kind of terrible things happen where I didn't say anything because I was worried about how it would affect me and then looking back on that um, I really regret that because had I said something, maybe it could have helped make those situations better. So that's something that I definitely don't do at all anymore is, stand by and watch terrible things happen. So, you know,
yeah, no, I think that's good for you for coming to that conclusion and sticking to it because the world is a better place that way. Um,
Paul has a question for
yes,
you
I
here,
was going to
though.
say thank you, Paul, for getting us sort of back on
Yeah.
track to this.
What is Northern Film Collective?
Well, Northern Film Collective is a collective of photographers who shoot film from across Canada. Uh, it could be anyone uh, that has photos of Canada on film. So it's an Instagram account that I started running in October of 2019 and have since made a photo book. So we will continue to make a yearly volume, which can be submitted to, and it features photographic work from across Canada.
And I think it's important to point out that the Northern Film Collective is the very first group of this type to ever be created, and the most welcoming and inclusive one out of the like two that exist in Canada right now.
I would have to agree.
Yeah.
Might be biased because I created this one, but also, I mean, if we're going to elaborate on that point, there is a similar account that is run by someone who I don't even know how to
I'll
go
say
into
it.
this.
So there's a guy, he goes by Pete's Film Photography. He runs the Canadian Film Photographers, something like that. Canadian Film Photographers, Cafanol Lab, and like a million other fucking. I don't know how he has the time to run as many Instagram accounts as he does, because
Mind-boggling.
I have like two plus the Film Collective, and
I,
that's like too
and
much.
I've found it overwhelming. That's why I brought you and Allie in to help with it because I
Yeah,
was like, this is too much. So I maybe it doesn't
but
work. I don't know.
he
But
steals a lot of Becca's fantastic ideas, and I don't know, like I talked about this in the CCR podcast, but I feel that like groups that operate like Canadian film photographers are an exemplary example of what not to do with a community and the types of community that we don't need to have in any kind of like realm because it just um, it encourages really toxic behavior and it's very exclusionary and I just don't like those things. I don't think it's something that we need to have out there.
yeah, I mean, my problem with it is just the whole. It's almost yeah, like an elitist thing. Like
Yeah.
the way it's portrayed there is like, well, if you're not shooting film, you're doing it wrong. And I mean, obviously, I believe that digital has its own place um, as well. And I don't know, you don't need to shove things down someone's throat, and everyone can enjoy it for their own reasons. And yes, I mean, I don't want to say, I can't say for sure this person stole my idea, but I literally did feature one of his photos on the account. And then a couple months later, he was running his own of the same thing, and even tried to turn around and tell me not to use this hashtag.
Yeah, that was a fun one because he blocked the collective and
And
all
then,
of the
yeah,
curators,
yeah. And then
and
when
then he
I
like
reached out,
reemerged.
exactly, when I reached out to him to be like, hey, like, well, if I'm not using your hashtag or whatever, can you not tag my account in your posts and stuff? Like, I use that to look for people who want to be featured. And then he was a bit of a baby and blocked me and all of us. And then actually, first he tried to go and talk shit about me to you first,
Well, not even
and
talk
then
shit about me to you. He was like, I'm gonna talk to the man about this and get the man to sort all this out. And it's just like, people, don't do that. Like, if you have a beef with someone, if you're a man's and you have a beef with anyone else, don't circumvent them and like try and address it through another party. Like, just fucking talk to them. Like, it's just goddamn ridiculous. Like, it really, because he's like, oh, blah blah blah. Like, she's not making sense. Can you reason with her? And it's just like, you reason with her. This is like, you guys have this problem, and like, I just help her out. Like, this is, but now we have a problem because you've pulled me into this, and I don't like you now because of this, because you're kind of like a weird sexist jerk face, and
yeah,
just don't do that. Especially if you're going to be this person that's trying to build a community to like pull people in and foster any kind of like good community. Um, that's not a great example. And then like when you introduced curators, he brought in like that whole captain thing, and like that was a fucking weird thing. And so this was something that I found out about after the CCR thing, and I wish I knew it because I would have said it on the CCR thing. But I was talking to another film photographer that we know who happens to be female, and when he put out that call for people to be captains or whatever the fuck he called them, she sent in a message being like, "Hey, I'd be down to like lead one of the provinces." He never responded to her.
yeah. And I don't know. He's blocked me on everything. So, but like, are all of the people, his captains, are all male? I'm
All males. Yeah.
not surprised.
Yeah, all males.
Yeah.
And I don't know them personally, but I mean it looks like it could have been like a poster board for like, an incel like helpline or something. Which was super fantastic. Um, but I see a community like that, and it just seems like a beacon of like what not to do. Um, because I've just been like so spoiled, not only like through the film collective, but also through like things like the Instant Film Society and like through Darkroom Lab and all that, where there's been like, these really wonderful, inclusive communities that don't come off as elitist and don't come off as like exclusionary and don't seem outwardly sexist.
Yeah.
Um, so just don't be like Pete. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, whatever, they're doing their thing, and a lot of people do support and obviously follow that account. But I mean, I've heard from a few different people now that, yeah, it's a little disrespectful. I mean, and that interaction I had with him was enough for me to just write that it all off altogether, because it
Yeah.
was just immature too, to the whole blocking me and you and Ali as well, who had nothing to do with any of it. It was
Right?
just all the curators blocked. And it was so funny too, because I was only reacting to what he had said to me in the first place, right? After he had
Well,
requested.
and then it was wild because he had asked you to do the same thing like a year prior,
Yeah,
which
no,
I don't know.
exactly.
Like that's
And
just
it just, yeah, clearly his ego or something's hurt. I don't know.
yeah,
So,
just don't be a dick. So circling that whole thought back is we need to have more inclusivity in our communities out there, a lot more understanding and acceptance. And we need, if everyone the participating in these communities to stand up and call out this kind of behavior. Like if you see it happening, don't let it just kind of happen and don't say anything about it because that's how these communities get support is
Yeah.
because you know some people may have these poor experiences, but other people don't. They're like, oh, well, I don't think they're like that. It's like, well, they are. Um, just because you haven't experienced it doesn't mean other people haven't.
No, exactly right. And that's even what I've said too is, I mean, other than that, that was a negative experience for sure, dealing with that. And also just in general, I feel, I don't know if it has anything to do with being a female, and starting this collective and versus him being ambiguous, because I know for a long time it wasn't even clear who was running the account. He didn't have it available, but and then also being male, I feel like it receives like quite a bit of support. I don't think it's doing a better job personally in
Well, I
any
mean,
sort
all
of
he
way.
he does like whore himself out a lot more than we do because he's
Yeah,
like, doing all the crazy hashtags and then like tagging Kodak and like everyone in it and stuff, and it's just like not necessarily doing a better job, but just sort of like being more shameless about it, I suppose.
yeah, and there's and it very well could be just like an unconscious bias thing too, but work on
That
it.
could be. Yeah,
Everyone just fucking
exactly.
work on it.
Just be better. And I'm
Yeah.
not I'm gonna like shamelessly say, and Northern Film Collective is like fucking awesome. We appreciate everyone
I mean,
and we
yeah,
big up all people.
I try like to be more inclusive as well. And I mean, it is hard. I mean, the fact is that this realm is dominated by, white cisgendered men. That's most of what, at least for what I see, maybe I need to work on it too. I do try to personally follow more women and people of color and all of that. So I just do see a lot. There's a lot of men um,
There are.
out there doing it. So
Yeah.
maybe,
And things like the film sorority are fantastic. Like, that's a great like if you want to find more female photographers, female content out there, give the film sorority a follow, check them out. The work that Danielle's been doing with Crispy and I can't remember the name of the other person right now. Um, if you look on the film sorority, it has like the list of all the people that are making that happen. But like that's a very, very important movement, an important thing to support right now because yeah, this is a very like male dominated realm and you know, it's kind of fucking boring sometimes because of it.
yeah,
Yeah.
no. Uh, I think photography, especially seeing all the different perspectives, is what makes it. Oh yeah, Woman Street
Uh,
Photographers is a great account. I followed them there. That was a good one. I
nice.
I agree. And
I'll
that's
have to
not
check that one out.
specifically analog or anything, right? That's just straight up street photography, which I think, I don't know if it was Paul that was saying that before. It was or someone just would like to see more communities that, yeah, are just photography based and not specifically digital or film. Um, and I think, yeah, it's all, well, almost just knocked over my whole table there. Yeah, no, I think it's good to see all of it, right? That'll only make you a better photographer as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I feel like you must be exhausted right now though.
Yeah, I haven't had dinner yet.
Oh shit.
Came home from
Well,
work and did this, but
I should
uh,
probably let you go have because I also have not done that either.
what about the
Um,
spaghetti that you spilled on yourself?
well, so I had a little bit. I had
Oh,
like
you still,
just
oh,
a little tiny
yeah,
bit because I
good.
needed to have a little bit of something to get through this because
Yeah,
this
I
trip has
feel
been
that.
insane.
Yeah,
Um,
you're just out there. doing it.
Yeah, just running away from Toronto.
Yeah, peace out, man.
Yeah, bye
Just left
Toronto.
me, little me, and everyone behind. It's fine.
Um,
I'm not
it
sour
was
about it at all.
it was hard to move away. I'm
I
sorry.
know. It's okay.
You're
I'm
just gonna have to come to
fucking
Vancouver.
with you. Yes, I
Where
will.
is it here? One of the best reasons I love the account is that it's not just film, it's all about pure photography, regardless of medium or background.
Yes, exactly.
I like
Love
that
it.
because I don't really like that whole, like, film is holier than thou statement. Because it's just like film can be great, but there's also a lot of just like shit photos that are done on film. And just because you took a
Yeah,
picture on film doesn't make it
and
inherently better.
right, that's what I was saying earlier about how like the film community is always very much just like I, I don't want to say it's like a circle jerk situation, right? Like, what is
Yeah,
it? There's like a Reddit account, it's like analog circle jerk, but it's all the bitter digital photographers that are making fun of the analog photographers that just sit around bigging each other up. But like, they're, and like, I love that about the community, but at the same time, like, a photo isn't a great photo just because it's on film. And I think there is,
right?
yeah. So,
Yeah.
I mean, yes, I run an account that features only film photography, but that's, it's like a niche I found. I love film a lot. Like I shoot pretty much only film just because it's a personal choice for me. But like I totally respect the digital photography community as well. They can probably, and yeah, they can take great images as well, just as
No, I
much.
agree with that too. Like I think like they're all just tools, and if it helps you be creative and it helps you share like a story or vision or anything that you would like to put out there in the world, then who cares what you make it with, as long as you're not harming other people or marginalizing other people, or taking advantage of someone to do that. All the more power to you. Do whatever, yeah, you got to do to like make things that feel good to you. Um, Johnny is asking,
About your
can I
tires?
tell the tire story? Okay, I will tell the tire story and then we'll wrap this up because Becca needs to eat and so do I. And I also need to sleep because I've got 7 hours of driving tomorrow morning. Um, so I'm moving across the country and I'm cheap. So I decided to tow a trailer behind my
Yeah, I'm
Volvo
excited to
station
hear the
wagon.
story too. Okay.
Yeah, so I did not do what I'm doing now, which is I now have a moving van with a car trailer that my car is on and I'm driving um, the rest of the way. I had, you know, I did make it 2,800 kilometers before the tires blew out of like a 4,000 kilometer trip. So more than halfway, I made it before serious issues. But turns out, um, between the weight in my car and the weight in the trailer, it was just a little too much. The tires weren't rubbing all the time, but when I would go over bumps, they would rub on the inner fender wells. And Manitoba and Saskatchewan, the roads are so fucking janky that like for like an hour from like Winnipeg into Saskatchewan, I was like on a road that was like bup 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 because it was just like all the frost heaves. So I was just like hitting all these bumps the whole time, and so the whole time I'm hitting bumps, my tires are just like rubbing on the inside of the thing, and I was like 4.5 hours outside of Calgary. I was talking to a friend on the phone, and I pulled over to take a picture of something, and I was just like coming up to speed again. And like as I was coming up to speed, the wheel just like kind of started pulling hard to the right. And I'm like, the fuck is going on? And it was like, but like kind of like doing like the flat tire move. And I was like, what the fuck? And I was just like, I have a flat tire. Awesome. And also my car is full of shit right now, so I can't get to the spare tire. So I had like a bit of a panic moment because I'm like, I'm in the middle of nowhere and I don't know what to do. So I called the cops because I didn't know who else to call. I didn't call 911. I called the non-emergency
Okay.
line
Okay.
because I was like, this isn't really an emergency, but I'm like, I also don't know who to call right now because I have no idea where I am other than I was in front of like a sign for like Hobart or like it was some like H name 1 kilometer away. And I grew to hate that sign because I stared at that sign for like 5 hours while I was waiting for the tow truck and shit. Herbert, I think that was it. I don't know who Herbert is, but I don't
You
like
stared at it
you
that long and
anymore.
you're not even sure.
Yeah, I hated it.
Yeah,
But
I guess you've pushed it out of your memory now.
a tow truck
Gotcha.
had to come pick me up, and because COVID, I couldn't ride with the tow truck, so I had to get a taxi as well, which was awesome. And then because my car is an all-wheel drive, I couldn't just replace one tire. I had to replace all four of them because they all have to match.
Ouch.
And that's when we discovered, because the passenger rear was what went out, but then when he took the driver's rear off, he's like, this one was about to go too. So he's like, you were about to lose both tires because they'd been rubbing the whole time. And so, yeah, I had to
Yeah, I
pay
mean
a
that'll
bunch of
do it.
money in Swift Current to get tires. I don't even like the tires that are on my car, but that was all that they had that would fit my car. And, that sucked. And then he was just like, you probably don't want to keep going like this, because, you're
Yeah.
probably going to blow the tires out again. So then that started like a whole shit show with U-Haul, trying to like figure out things with them. And they didn't have anything in Swift Current. So I ended up having to drive with the new tires in the trailer like 100 some kilometers to like the middle of fucking nowhere in Saskatchewan. This place called Shaunavon, which was 61 kilometers away from Climax, which I regret not taking a picture of that sign, but it's kind of funny thing.
How
Um,
anticlimactic.
yeah, well, I mean that's
That's a
how
bad
one
pun.
one time my ex-wife and I won a trip, all expense paid, to Calgary for coming up with a tourism catchphrase for Gian Gameshi's The Q. And he picked ours, and now it makes a whole lot more sense given what like came to light with him. But her friend came up with this catchphrase: Calgary, somewhere between hope and climax. Yeah, it's a
Like
great play on
literally
the
and yeah,
yeah,
that's
literally,
funny.
and whatever.
And figuratively.
Yeah, but I made friends with this like really nice man named John in Shaunavon who you know used to work for Nortel Networks and likes model trains, and he works with small engines, and moved all my shit from the trailer into the moving truck, and now I'm in BC. Yeah, and I have like,
Yeah, I'm not gonna be that annoying person that's like, why didn't you have a contingency plan for driving across the country? You didn't. What if a tire blew out? Like,
well, because it's never happened to
but
me
I just did it.
before.
I just did it.
This
I was
is
like, I'm
this
not
has
gonna
been
be that
my
annoying person, but
this is my fourth time across the country. Um, this is my fourth time across the country. First time alone, second time with a trailer. Have never had a blowout before, but also I have a lot of stuff.
yeah,
And
and you knew it was you were fucking riding low.
yeah, I knew I was riding low a little bit.
Yeah.
But
What?
also I didn't do the truck thing the first time because like from Toronto to Vancouver, it was gonna probably be like 4 grand, which is what I ended up spending anyways on everything. So I didn't come out ahead. And yes, I did take his portrait. I gave him a photo on pack film with my Polaroid 185. Yeah. He was very excited about it.
Oh, so he has the portrait, so we can't. You don't have it to see.
Yeah, I gave him the portrait.
Yeah.
I have like one of those photos where I take like the picture.
Yeah. Cool.
And I
Yeah.
have the negative if I ever do bleach them. It's like it'll go on the pile of all the negatives that I plan on bleaching one day, but probably never will. Yeah.
Cool.
That's the tire story.
Uh,
But now I should let you have your dinner.
yeah, I
And
guess it's getting pretty late.
yeah. But
But that
thank
was
you
good.
for joining me on the chat. I appreciate
Thank you for
you,
having me.
and I miss
Appreciate
you
you.
immensely.
Oh, miss you
Um,
too.
can't wait for you to come visit Vancouver. And I appreciate,
Hopefully in August, depending how everything goes, I will be out
fingers
there.
crossed,
Hopefully. Yeah.
that would be great. I appreciate everyone tuning in and spending some time with us. And next week, I am going to have another great female photographer on, and literally my oldest friend in the world. Dawn
Oh,
Stenzel is going to be joining me next week. I've known her since grade 2, and she's one of the top wedding photographers in Vancouver. So it'll be interesting to hear her take on wedding photography. So be sure to tune in next week. Yeah.
all right. Thank you.
Well, thank you, everyone.
Thank you for
Stay
everyone who
safe.
tuned in. That was fun.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Have a good night, Becca.
Good night. Good night, everyone.
Take care, everyone.
Bye.
All right. Bye.